Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Tank B Chopping, and I'm back with another haircut tutorial. Alright guys, what we're gonna be doing on this cut is a number 3 on top, a mid fade. We lining up the beard, adding some enhancements, you know what I'm saying? We're just gonna do what we gotta do to make sure my client looks good. Let's go. Alright guys, so I got my Low Pro FX from Babyliss. I got my number 3 guard, and as y'all can see, I'm going over the top of my client's head, and I'm going against the grain. That way I cut all this down to a nice even length. And as you can see, I am going over the top a good amount of times, and the reason for that is I just want to make sure I'm being really consistent with what I'm doing. Want to make sure I get all this down to that length, make sure there's there's not any stray hairs just left on top. So I'm gonna go over it a good amount of times, and I'm going against the grain, and you are gonna also see me go across the grain a couple times, just trying to make sure I get all that hair down to that desired length. And I do have a brush in my hand, and the reason for my brush is I'm just making sure I'm brushing away all this excess hair that falls off. You know what I'm saying? I want to actually see the way the length looks on top. Alright, so now that that is done, what I'm doing here is I got my number 2 guard on my clipper, and all I'm doing is I'm debulking the side. I have my lever open, so it basically makes this a 2.5 right now. And like I said, I'm debulking the side, basically prepping the side for my fade work. And even though I started with my lever open, I did close my lever also, and I'm coming right below what I did with my lever open. And I am using a slight flick out motion, you know what I'm saying, floating and just gliding my clipper up in a way that way I don't leave any harsh lines, and just so I make it easier for me to work with, you know what I'm saying. And once again guys, I'm being really consistent with this. I just want to make sure that it's all down to that length before I actually start cutting any hair. Or fading any hair, I should say. Alright, so as y'all can see, I'm going in with my trimmer. These are the Low Pro FX trimmers. I'm setting in my bald guideline, and I'm setting it in, as you can see, about a mid fade area. It may be somewhere between a mid and a low fade. Y'all know how your boy does it. I like to drop it down in the back a little bit also. So I can see how it resembles a low fade, but nonetheless, it's gonna be, I'm gonna stretch my fade out like I always do. And I started basically, I guess you can say, in the middle of the C cup, you know what I'm saying? It's not the very top of the C cup. But anyways, so I balled it out the sides, and now I got my shaver, and I'm coming up to that line. But the closer I get to that line, I'm using a flick out motion, and I'm relieving some pressure. That way it doesn't leave too harsh of a line. So now I'm going in with my clipper with my lever all the way open, and I'm coming up about 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch. And that's gonna be, basically the guideline for my next section. And I'm using a slight flick out motion, and really, I say a slight flick out motion, but really what I'm doing is I'm just relieving some pressure, towards the top of that guideline. And then once I set that guideline in, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna close my clipper halfway, and I'm gonna come halfway into this section, and then I'm gonna close my clipper notch by notch. So by the time I'm at the bottom of this guideline right here, my lever should be all the way closed. And for the most part, that should get out this line, but if it doesn't, I know I can always come back in with my trimmer if needed. And you will see me going over this section a good amount of time. Reason being, guys, this was my first time cutting his hair. I've cut his son's hair before, but this was my first time cutting his hair. So I was just trying to be real consistent with what I was doing, just trying to make sure that I was, doing a good job, and just trying to get this blend to come together without, basically what I wanted to do, guys, is I wanted to be really consistent with it so that I didn't have to do too much detail work. The less consistent you are when you're setting in your guidelines, the more detail work you have to do. And I really wasn't trying to go back in and detail too much, so I was being, real nitpicky when it comes to these, these sections. So now I'm going in with my number 1 guard. My lever is all the way open, and I'm setting in my next guideline. And same thing here, guys. I'm coming up about 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch or so, and I am using that slight flick out motion as well. And once this guideline is set in, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna close my clipper all the way, and I'm gonna start attacking that bottom line, coming halfway into this section using that flick out motion. And once again, I'm being really consistent with what I'm doing. I'm still going in with my lever open, still just being careful with what I'm doing with my 1.5 guard or with my 1 guard with the lever open. So I just closed my lever, now I'm coming halfway into this section using a flick out motion. So there's still a line right there between those 2 sections. So what I'm doing is I'm going in with my 1/16 guard or my 0 guard, whatever you want to call it. My lever is halfway open, and I'm just tapping at that line, flicking at that line, and then I'm gonna adjust my lever close notch by notch and still just attack that line until it comes completely out. Alright, so now I'm going in with my 2 guard once again, and the reason for this is, once again guys, I'm just being real consistent with what I'm doing, you know, just trying to make it so where I don't have many discrepancies towards the end of this cut. So I'm going in with my 2 guard, just making sure all that is knocked down to that desired length, and now I'm going in with my 1.5 guard lever open, and I'm starting to attack this line that y'all see right there. And I know this 1.5 guard with the lever open isn't gonna take this line completely out. I know I'm gonna have to close that lever, and that's fine. Once I close that lever, you're gonna start seeing this line erase even more. Alright guys, so now that that is done, I'm going back in with my 1.5 guard, or I'm sorry, my 1 guard with the lever open, and I'm just cleaning up these dark areas that I see in this blend. And basically after this is basically me being done with this part of the haircut. Now I am gonna go back in and still detail it, and you know, I'm gonna be, you know, kind of nitpicky with certain things, but I'm just gonna go back in and detail after this, try to clean up them dark areas. So this is my 0 guard or my 1/16 guard, attacking the bottom of this blend, still just using some corner blending, you know what I'm saying, adjusting that lever as needed, just trying to get this blend to come together. And as y'all can see, this part of the blend is mostly done, so I decided to move on to the edge up. So I'm taking my Low Pro FX trimmers, and I set in my first line in the middle of his forehead, or in the middle of his lineup on his forehead, and then I'm moving my way over inch by inch, little by little, until I get to that vertical bar. And this is just the way I like to do my haircuts, guys. I like to do one side at a time, and then once I'm done with fading that side, I like to line up my client. And the reason why I do that is I feel that it lets me see the blend a little better. So as you can see, the blend is starting to pop a little more, so it just helps me with any discrepancies, and I know that I can go back in and clean that up before I move on to my next section or the opposite side.
Damn it, Tito. Another one?
Alright guys, so now I'm blending in his beard, and I'm basically doing the same steps that I did on his head. I'm just doing it on his beard. And now I'm going back into the fade area, just doing some more detail work, trying to get this blend, you know, just trying to step it up a notch, just get it to that next level. And when I detail, guys, I move a little quicker. Like I don't sit there and take too much time detailing most of the time. Now sometimes I do take a while when I'm detailing, but I try to go a little quicker when I'm detailing. And it's, you know, for the most part, that's just what works for me. So as y'all can see, guys, we on the opposite side of my client's head now, and we're gonna be doing the same exact thing, same steps. We're just trying to move more efficiently on this side. You know, we know how the haircut lays, or not the haircut, but we know how the hair lays, and we know what the hair does. And I don't know if y'all noticed this, but right where his parietal ridge starts, you can see it's a little darker right here, and that's just due to his parietal ridge. You know, on the side he's got a little bump right there. Everyone has it, but his is a little more dominant than others, so I'm trying to just be very careful in that area right there. That way I don't leave too harsh of a line in that area. So sometimes if you're not careful, you can find yourself, you know, bringing that blend too high, or just not blending enough in that area, and it won't necessarily be a line, but it'll look like you know, like a lot of darkness right there. So that's basically what I'm trying to steer away from. So you know, I gotta make sure that I'm going through my steps, trusting the process, and then looking at this haircut from different angles. That way I can really see, like right there I can still see a little bit of darkness, a little line, but I'm gonna go back in and clean that up. Y'all know, once again guys, how I do it. I like to line up the front edge up, and then I go back and I look at what needs to be touched up. And once again guys, that's just my method, and that's just my process of doing my haircuts, and for me that's what works. Now what works for me won't necessarily work for you, but if you haven't found a good method yet, try it out, see how it works for you, and let me know down in the comment section if that's something that you like to do because you've seen me doing it. Then let me know, and if it's something that you tried doing and it don't work for you, let me know also, and tell me what you do. Like, I'd like to know what other people do, you know, when they're cutting hair. I have seen a lot of people just cut the whole head first before they start lining up, and that's something that I used to do, but for me that just took me a long time, so I don't like doing it that way. I can, but like I said, I just feel that takes me longer, so I like to do my haircuts in sections. I do one side first, line them up, do the other side, line them up, and then do the back, and that's just the way I do it. Some people move from the left side to the back to the right, but like I said, it's all about preference and what works for you. The same thing isn't going to work for everybody, but you can just try different things out and see what works best for you. Alright guys, so like I was saying, I'm going back in and detailing this cut a little bit, you know what I'm saying. I feel that there was some discrepancies still in this haircut, so I'm just taking care of that, trying to blend in this beard, you know, and just trying to make it all look good, you know what I'm saying. Alright guys, so now that the blade work is done, I'm actually going to be going in and using some enhancements. I'm using my no drip first, and I'm just going to put this all over the lines, just make them sharper like I normally do. And then after this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to spray them with some hairspray and then actually add some hair fibers. That way these lines look a little more natural, and it actually looks like hair instead of just paint, you know what I'm saying. And I like to do that here and there. I've seen S-Craft do it, and that's the reason why I started doing it, and I just like the way it looks, so I continue to do it. So here I am spraying my client with some hairspray. Now I'm going in with my Topic hair enhancements, my Topic hair fibers. And you don't want to put too much, you just want to put just enough to where it looks nice and natural. Alright guys, so this is the before look, you know what I'm saying. Once again guys, this is my first time cutting my client's hair. I don't know how long it's been, I don't know what he normally gets or how it looks, but this is how he came in looking after a couple of weeks of growth. And this is the finished product. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this haircut in the comment section. If y'all like this video, please make sure to smash that like button. Also, if you're new to my channel, make sure and subscribe one time for your boy. Also, guys, remember, if you're in the Houston, Texas area and you're trying to get a haircut from your boy, you can go to my website, tankbchopping.com, and you can book your appointment there. But remember, guys, you got to be in the Houston, Texas area. And yeah, you can book your appointment and I'll take care of you guys. But that's basically it, YouTube. Once again, smash that like button. If you're new to my channel, subscribe one time for me. Also, let me know in the comments what y'all think about this cut. Let me know if y'all like this cut, if y'all like this style of cutting, if y'all like my clippers. Y'all just get active in that comment section, guys. And that's basically it, YouTube. I appreciate y'all. Until next time, let's go.